done Superman, now a super spy. Is James Bond next for you?
That all depends.
For years, fans have been asking the same question: who will be the next James Bond? The excitement never goes away, but now things are getting even more heated. Hollywood is now talking about making James Bond a black character, which would completely change his history. Many people are not happy about this, and the debate is everywhere. Some fans think it is a great idea, while others believe Bond should stay the way he has always been for more than 60 years. But in the middle of all this, one name keeps coming up: Henry Cavill. He has finally spoken about the rumors, and the internet is on fire. Many people believe he is the perfect choice for the role. Could he be the next James Bond, or will Hollywood make a big change that many fans do not agree with? In a recent interview, Henry Cavill was asked about playing James Bond, but instead of the usual question, the interviewer asked if he would play a Bond villain instead. Cavill gave a very smart answer. He said, "If the Bond producers want me to be part of their movies in any way, I would be happy to have that conversation. I would love to explore that idea." The interviewer then joked about needing to work out to be one of Bond's henchmen, and Cavill laughed along. But that one small answer was enough to get people talking. Fans are now more convinced than ever that Henry Cavill should be the next James Bond. Many believe he has everything needed to bring the character to life. Right now, the role of James Bond is open, and the producers are looking at different options. Some rumors even say that they are checking if Henry Cavill is still in great shape, like he was when he played Superman, or if he would need training before taking on the role. Henry Cavill has actually come close to playing James Bond before. Many years ago, when they were looking for a new Bond, he auditioned for the role. The producers liked him, but at that time, they thought he was too young. Instead, they chose Daniel Craig. But now things are different. Cavill has become a big name in Hollywood, and he has proved that he has the charm, the looks, and the skills to play the famous spy. James Bond is one of the most well-known characters in movie history. Every actor who has played him, whether it was Sean Connery or Daniel Craig, has brought something new to the role. But one thing has always stayed the same. Bond has always been a British spy with a specific look and background. Now, Hollywood is thinking about making a big change, and not everyone is happy about it. Since Daniel Craig left the role after No Time to Die, fans have been guessing who will replace him. But this time, the conversation is not only about who is the best actor for the job. Now, some people want the next Bond to be a black actor. Others have even suggested that James Bond could be played by a woman. This idea has led to a lot of arguments. Many longtime fans feel that Bond should stay true to his original story. They say that instead of changing Bond, Hollywood should create new characters that bring diversity in their own way. But other people believe it is time for Bond to change, and that the movies should reflect the modern world. One of the names that keeps coming up in these discussions is Idris Elba. He has the confidence, the charm, and the action skills to play Bond. Many fans have said for years that he would be perfect for the role. But even Idris Elba himself has said that he is not sure about taking the role, mainly because of the controversy surrounding it. At the end of the day, the decision is in the hands of the producers. Will they listen to fans and choose someone like Henry Cavill, who fits the classic Bond image? Or will they take a new direction, making history but also facing a lot of backlash? No matter what happens, one thing is clear: whoever becomes the next James Bond will have a big responsibility to keep the character's legacy alive. Idris Elba is one of the actors people often mention when talking about the next James Bond. But even he does not agree with the idea. He has called it a gimmick, saying that changing Bond's race would not bring anything special to the character. Instead, it would feel like a forced attempt to make the franchise look modern, rather than respecting what has made Bond so popular for many years. The real issue is not just about skin color. James Bond has a strong history and personality that make him who he is. Ian Fleming, the writer who created Bond, described him as a white British spy with a specific background. His life experiences, his relationships, and even his way of thinking come from that background. Changing his race is not the same as simply casting a new actor. It would completely change who Bond is. This brings up a bigger question. Why does Hollywood feel the need to change Bond at all? If they want diversity, Why not create a brand new black spy character instead of changing an old one? There are many great black actors who can lead their own movie franchises. Hollywood has introduced new action heroes before, like Jason Bourne and John Wick. So why is Bond the one that needs to be changed? The truth is, Hollywood has been forcing diversity into well-known movie franchises instead of coming up with fresh ideas. There have been many examples of this. When Scarlett Johansson played an Asian character in Ghost in the Shell, people were very upset. When white actors have been cast in roles originally meant for non-white characters, the media has strongly criticized it. But now, Hollywood is trying to change Bond's race, and suddenly, they're calling it progress. The double standard is very clear.
Asked like a gazillion and one times, will you play Bond? Do you want to play 007? I'm not going to ask you that.
James Bond fans are not against diversity. They just want the character to stay the way he was originally written. They do not want Bond to be used as a political message. This is not about finding the best actor for the role. It is about Hollywood trying to show how inclusive they are. That is why so many people are speaking out against it. Even the people behind the Bond movies have different opinions. One of the main producers, Barbara Broccoli, has said that Bond can be played by an actor of any race, as long as he is British. This means they are open to a non-white actor playing the role. But some people working on the movies want to go even further. Some have suggested that Bond should be completely rewritten, maybe as a woman or even as a totally new type of character. At this point, it is clear that Hollywood does not want to respect Bond's legacy. They want to change it. For years, fans have accepted different actors playing the role, but those actors always stayed true to Bond's character, smooth, charming, and dangerous. Now, instead of choosing the best actor for the role, Hollywood seems more interested in making a statement. The question is simple. If Bond's race does not matter, then why change it? If being white is not important to his character, then why is Hollywood working so hard to make him different? The answer is that they care more about proving a point than making a great movie. And fans can see that. This is why many people believe Henry Cavill is the best choice for the next James Bond. He has the looks, the attitude, and the skills to continue Bond's story. Instead of changing Bond into something completely new, why not just pick the right actor who can truly bring the character to life? That is the real debate. Henry Cavill represents everything James Bond should be. He is strong, confident, and stays true to the original character. Time and time again, he has shown that he cares more about good storytelling than pushing trends. In a time when Hollywood is more focused on changing classic characters instead of respecting them, Cavill might be the last hope for keeping Bond the way fans love him. Right now, the internet is full of talk about whether Henry Cavill will finally be the next James Bond. Fans are excited, social media is filled with hashtags, and even Jeff Bezos, who now has a major role in the Bond franchise through MGM and Amazon, has openly asked, who should be the next Bond? The most popular answer? Henry Cavill. Cavill has been linked to the role for almost 20 years. In fact, he nearly became Bond back in 2006 when they were casting for Casino Royale. According to director Martin Campbell, Cavill was one of the final two choices. It all came down to him and Daniel Craig. Campbell even admitted that Cavill had the perfect look, the right physical presence, and strong acting skills. But in the end, the producers thought he was too young. At just 22 years old, they felt he did not have the experienced, world-weary look they wanted for the character. Now, that is no longer a problem. Cavill is 41, which is the perfect age to take over as Bond in a new era. He is no longer a young, up-and-coming actor, he is a seasoned action star. Over the years, he has built an impressive career playing tough, intense roles. His performances in Mission Impossible, Fallout, The Man from UNCLE, and Argylle have proven that he is everything Bond needs: charm, toughness, and the ability to command the screen. But there is a catch. Hollywood has been pushing for a more diverse Bond, and Cavill is not the choice they seem to want. Even though he is everything fans are looking for, some of the people behind the Bond films are unsure about casting him. MGM and the producers are still debating where they want to take the character next. For many fans, the answer is simple: Henry Cavill is the perfect James Bond. He has the skills, the presence, and the passion to bring the character to life. The only question is whether Hollywood will listen to the fans or choose to take Bond in a completely different direction. The Bond producers have made it clear they want the next James Bond to be in his 30s. This means Henry Cavill, who is now 41, might be a little older than what they are looking for. Still, he is one of the top choices, and fans continue to support him. But he has strong competition. One of the actors being considered for the role of James Bond is Regé Page, who is best known for his performance in Bridgerton. He is a talented actor, but it is clear that Hollywood is promoting his name more for diversity reasons than because audiences are demanding him for the role. Many fans have their own favorites in mind, and while Page has gained popularity in recent years, he has not been at the top of most people's lists when it comes to playing Bond. Apart from Page, there are a few other well-known names in the running. Tom Hardy and Idris Elba have both been linked to the role multiple times over the years. Both are highly respected actors with strong screen presence, and many people believe they would do an incredible job as Bond. However, one concern that keeps coming up is their age. The producers of the franchise have made it clear that they are looking for someone younger to take over the role, which makes it difficult for Hardy and Elba to remain strong contenders.
I mean, Ian Fleming was part of this special operations executive, and
Wrote James Bond, of course. Yeah.
Another actor in the conversation is Aaron Taylor-Johnson. Unlike Hardy and Elba, he is younger and fits the age range that the Bond producers are looking for. At 34, he is at the right stage in his career to take on such a major role. He has already proven himself in action films and has the kind of physical presence that would work well for Bond. Because of this, he might have a better chance than some of the other actors being considered. At the same time, Henry Cavill remains one of the strongest choices for the role. He has been a fan favorite for years, ever since he was almost cast as Bond before Daniel Craig took the part. Cavill has everything needed to bring Bond to life. He has the look, the charm, and the experience in action films. However, some believe that he might now be slightly older than what the producers are looking for. Ultimately, the decision will come down to what the studio wants for the future of the Bond franchise. If they prioritize audience demand and choose an actor who truly fits the role, then Cavill could be the perfect choice. But if they focus more on other factors, such as age or diversity, then someone like Taylor-Johnson or Page might be given the opportunity instead. Fans are waiting to see what will happen, but one thing is certain: the next James Bond needs to be someone who can carry the legacy of the character while bringing something fresh and exciting to the role. This is not the first time Cavill has come close to playing Bond. In 2006, when Casino Royale was being cast, he was one of the final two choices. The director, Martin Campbell, even said that he preferred Cavill's audition. However, producer Barbara Broccoli decided to go with Daniel Craig because she felt Cavill was too young at the time. Looking back, Cavill himself has admitted that he was probably not ready then. Now, the debate is about more than just talent. The real question is whether the Bond producers will choose the actor that fans want or if they will focus on changing the character to fit a modern agenda. Cavill has everything a great Bond needs: experience, skill, and strong support from the audience. But if Hollywood is more focused on making a statement instead of giving fans a great James Bond, he could be pushed aside once again. However, this time, there is a big difference. Amazon now owns the Bond franchise. The longtime producers, Michael G. Wilson and Barbara Broccoli, have stepped back, and now Jeff Bezos and his team at MGM will decide who will play Bond. This could be a big advantage for Cavill. He already has a strong working relationship with Amazon, as he is starring in their upcoming Warhammer 40,000 series and a live-action Voltron movie. This might make it easier for MGM to choose him, even if he is a little older than their preferred age. At this point, the choice is simple. If Amazon wants a James Bond film that will be a big success, they will choose Henry Cavill. But if they focus more on diversity than what fans actually want, the backlash will be huge. One thing is clear: Cavill is ready to play James Bond. Now, the only question is whether Hollywood is ready to give him the role. There is an incredible story about a group of men and women who took on a secret mission that changed the course of the war. It was a daring black ops operation, something that was almost unheard of at the time. But what makes it even more interesting is that one of the key figures behind it was none other than Ian Fleming, the same Ian Fleming who later created James Bond. The character of James Bond is believed to be inspired by Gus March Phillips, the man Henry Cavill plays in this film. While Fleming likely drew inspiration from many sources, it is said that Gus had a strong influence on the creation of Bond. In fact, Gus had a code name, W1, which over time evolved into the famous 007. The team members had code numbers to keep their identities secret, ensuring they could carry out missions without being traced. Interestingly, Gus March Phillips was also a writer. He had written a book based on his experiences as a spy. If he had survived World War II, he might have published his story before Ian Fleming, possibly even creating a spy character before James Bond ever existed. That is a wild thought, one that makes this story even more fascinating. When people first hear Ian Fleming's name connected to this film, they do a double take. Some might even rewind the scene just to make sure they heard it right. And then there is the character played by Cary Elwes. He is essentially M in this world, connecting even more dots between history and fiction. It all adds an extra layer of excitement to the movie. Henry Cavill has already shown that he is not willing to change important characters just to please studios. When he realized that The Witcher was moving in a direction he did not agree with, he decided to walk away. He also stood his ground when it came to playing Superman. He refused to let the character be rewritten in a way that did not fit the Superman he believed in. Because of this, he lost the role, but he did not let that change his principles. Now, there's talk about him possibly becoming the next James Bond. However, Hollywood has been changing classic characters in ways that some fans do not like. Many beloved heroes have been rewritten to fit modern trends, and some believe this has taken away what made them special in the first place. If the James Bond franchise decides to go down that same path, would Cavill be willing to take on the role? Based on what we have seen from him before, it seems unlikely that he would accept the part if it meant changing Bond into something unrecognizable. He has always been clear about staying true to the original version of characters, and he would likely expect the same for Bond. Cavill is a strong choice for the role. He has the charm, the confidence, and the action experience needed to play 007. Many fans have wanted him to take on the role for years. He even auditioned for it in the past, but lost to Daniel Craig. Now that Craig has stepped away, Cavill's name is once again being mentioned. But would the studios be willing to keep Bond's character the same? Or would they want to make big changes? If Cavill does get the role, fans can be sure he will try his best to stay true to what makes Bond special. He has already shown that he respects the history of the characters he plays. He is not the type of actor who will take a role just for money or fame. He cares about storytelling and keeping things authentic. That is why so many people respect him. If he becomes Bond, he will likely push back against any attempts to rewrite the character in a way that goes against his history. On the other hand, if he does not get the role, fans might suspect that it is because he was not willing to accept a changed version of Bond. This has happened before in Hollywood. Sometimes, actors who want to keep a character's original personality are passed over for someone more willing to go along with the studio's vision. If Cavill is not chosen, many fans will likely believe that Bond was being changed too much and that Cavill refused to go along with it. The big question is whether Hollywood has already gone too far with changing classic characters. Some people feel that movies and TV shows today focus too much on making changes rather than respecting the original material. They believe that some franchises have lost their identity because of this. Others argue that change is a good thing and that characters need to evolve to stay relevant. This debate has been going on for years, and James Bond could be the next big test. For many fans, Bond represents a certain type of spy, smooth, skilled, and always in control. He has a classic style and a sense of mystery that makes him stand out. If the studios try to make him too different from what he has always been, they risk losing what makes him special. If Cavill takes the role, he could be the person to protect Bond's legacy and keep him true to what fans love. Right now, Hollywood seems to be moving in a direction that could change James Bond forever. The same people who ruined The Witcher and disappointed Star Wars fans are now trying to do the same thing here. They are not looking for a classic Bond, they want to reshape him to fit modern trends. But if Henry Cavill gets the role, we know he will not let that happen. Cavill is not just a talented actor, he is someone who fights for authenticity in every role he takes. He respects the source material, the legacy, and what makes a character truly special. If Hollywood tries to turn Bond into a political statement rather than a thrilling spy adventure, Cavill will not be part of it. Just like he walked away from The Witcher and refused to let Superman be rewritten into something unrecognizable, he will stand his ground. He might be the last hope for keeping James Bond true to what he was meant to be. Cavill has everything it takes to play 007. He has the look, the skill, and most importantly, the deep respect for the character. He understands what makes Bond iconic, unlike some Hollywood executives who seem more focused on reinventing him than preserving his legacy. But the real question is not whether Cavill is the right choice, because he clearly is. It is whether Hollywood will actually let him play the role. If MGM and Amazon choose him, they will be giving fans exactly what they have been asking for, a Bond who stays true to his roots. But if they focus on checking boxes instead of choosing the best actor, and if they push a version of Bond that does not fit the character's legacy, it could spell the end of the franchise as we know it. Henry Cavill has already shown that he is not willing to change important characters just to please studios. When he realized that The Witcher was moving in a direction he did not agree with, he decided to walk away. He also stood his ground when it came to playing Superman. He refused to let the character be rewritten in a way that did not fit the Superman he believed in. Because of this, he lost the role, but he did not let that change his principles. Now, there is talk about him possibly becoming the next James Bond. However, Hollywood has been changing classic characters in ways that some fans do not like. Many beloved heroes have been rewritten to fit modern trends, and some believe this has taken away what made them special in the first place. If the James Bond franchise decides to go down that same path, would Cavill be willing to take on the role? Based on what we have seen from him before, it seems unlikely that he would accept the part if it meant changing Bond into something unrecognizable. He has always been clear about staying true to the original version of characters, and he would likely expect the same for Bond. Cavill is a strong choice for the role. He has the charm, the confidence, and the action experience needed to play 007. Many fans have wanted him to take on the role for years. He even auditioned for it in the past, but lost to Daniel Craig. Now that Craig has stepped away, Cavill's name is once again being mentioned. But would the studios be willing to keep Bond's character the same? Or would they want to make big changes? If Cavill does get the role, fans can be sure he will try his best to stay true to what makes Bond special. He has already shown that he respects the history of the characters he plays. He is not the type of actor who will take a role just for money or fame. He cares about storytelling and keeping things authentic. That is why so many people respect him. If he becomes Bond, he will likely push back against any attempts to rewrite the character in a way that goes against his history. On the other hand, if he does not get the role, fans might suspect that it is because he was not willing to accept a changed version of Bond. This has happened before in Hollywood. Sometimes, actors who want to keep a character's original personality are passed over for someone more willing to go along with the studio's vision. If Cavill is not chosen, many fans will likely believe that Bond was being changed too much and that Cavill refused to go along with it. The big question is whether Hollywood has already gone too far with changing classic characters. Some people feel that movies and TV shows today focus too much on making changes rather than respecting the original material. They believe that some franchises have lost their identity because of this. Others argue that change is a good thing and that characters need to evolve to stay relevant. This debate has been going on for years, and James Bond could be the next big test. For many fans, Bond represents a certain type of spy, smooth, skilled, and always in control. He has a classic style and a sense of mystery that makes him stand out. If the studios try to make him too different from what he has always been, they risk losing what makes him special. If Cavill takes the role, he could be the person to protect Bond's legacy and keep him true to what fans love. But if he walks away, it might be a sign that the studios are not interested in keeping Bond the same.